Good morning, everyone. Now we are going to start our physics class. In today's session, we just discuss the very briefly what is actually the crystallinity. Now, repeating a periodic array of large atomic distances in 3D pattern in which the atoms are bounded to its nearest neighbor. So, what is the exactly? Now, this is the thing that is there in the slide. So, what crystallinity says that the arrangement of the atoms, right, in a sequential order, then if that arrangement is in the sequential order, and we are considering the three-dimensional right three-dimensional pattern, so now we'll call such phenomena as crystallinity. And how this crystal structure look like, right? So in the previous classes we had a very clear idea about the crystal structure geometrically, and also we have seen some figures regarding the crystal structure. In the today's session also we'll have very brief explanation of the crystal structure and the schematic diagrams of the crystal structure. Now you can just see this type of two figures, right, which indicates the crystal structure, and also you can just see a microscopical view how the crystals inside the crystals, how the grain boundaries are there. You can just see this this open say we'll call this as grain boundaries, well defined boundaries. So we'll call such what you can say figure how the structure of crystal is varying when you see it right it, through the microscope, and also some different crystals which are available on the earth crust. So that is a figure 1 and figure 2. So now you already know the unit cell, right? We just discussed in the previous classes also the repetition of the smallest geometrical figure will yield us the crystal structure. So that is a basic building block of the crystal structure. The basic building block of the crystal structure is the unit cell. Now this has been given with this example of some blocks, right? So when you join these blocks, you'll get a particular structure. In the same manner, the unit cell, if you just build up the unit cell, right, infinite number of times, so you will get the structure as crystal structure, right? So now, so we had already discussed about this what you can say the different system lattice constants and angles, and you find that the geometrical unit cell, right, if it is cubic, so if this is the condition, then if the figure will be shown in this particular manner, geometrical unit cell. So if this condition is satisfying, we'll call this unit cell geometrical view as the that come under the category of cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, right? You can just have a glance of it. We in the previous classes we had a very clear idea regarding this, right? So this is only the what you can say a brief view of the things that we have already discussed, right? So now here in engineering we just give our more what your concentration to the metals, right, particularly. So that is the reason that we need to understand the metallic crystal structure, right? So metallic crystal structure, you'll find that when we talk about cubic crystal, right, particularly metal crystal structures, you'll find abundance of the metals, right, will come under the category of cubic. So when you just study about the cubic crystal system, so you'll definitely, we need to understand the various lattices of the cubic crystal system, that is face centered cubic crystal. And you can just see we had in the previous class we had this particular geometrical explanation, but since we need to understand it for the next topic, that is the reason that again we are just repeating the same previous lattice of cubic crystal system. So that is face centered cubic. You can see that how these atoms are arranged at the corners, right? This is one view, right? This is a front view of the unit cell. And face centered means you'll, apart from the corners, you'll find that there are three number of additional atoms which are shared by the six faces of the cubic crystal system, and will come under the category of Bravais lattice, that is face centered cubic Bravais lattice. Now this is the view that one can assume, right, if it is a face centered cubic lattice, right? Now we can just have see regarding, we need to understand regarding the BCC, that is body centered cubic, uh, Bravais lattice, which comes under the category of cubic crystal system. Now, in this you can just see that how this body centered cubic structure look like, right? Body centered cubic, the atoms are arranged at the corners of the cube with another atom at the cube center. You can find that see there are few atoms, right, which are residing at the corners of the unit cell, and exactly at the center you'll find one atom, right? So that is called body centered cubic. Now this is called BCC, and hexagonal also is there, but we need not to go for that particular hexagonal. That is not actually included in our syllabus, so we need not to go for that. Now we you had a very brief understanding about the direction and planes. So here also we'll just go for some a very quick view of the direction based upon the boundaries of the unit cell. So we have just taken the example of let us consider a unit cell. You can just see in the figure, you'll find that there is a unit cell here. So in the unit cell you can just have this, right? You have seen already this what you can say, just a minute, right? uh-huh. uh, Now, you had already seen that the directions, how these directions are related geometrically. Here also we had a glance of what you can say, how these directions are indicated geometrically. So that is the reason that we have just taken, we have drawn a unit cell, and in that unit cell we had some representations, right? So this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we know we want to locate the what you can say, the directions of these planes which are there in the unit cell. So the direction 1, first direction, you can just see this particular aspect that comes to be 1, 0, 0, that is intersecting the crystallographic axis x, right? X axis, y axis, and z axis. So the line segment 1. So we will just have it see. You can just see this line segment. So these directions consider the Miller indices of this particular plane will be considered to be 1, 0, 0, and the direction 2 you can just see the direction 2. So for direction 2 you can just see that we are talking about the y axis, so therefore 0, 1, 0. So similarly, when you go for the direction 3, you can just see the direction 3 in which the this line segment is parallel to these what you can say, it is parallel to the y axis. Therefore we will just write it as 0 here. So 1, 0, 1 will get, and the direction 4 is very simple. So this direction 4 indicates that that is 1, 1, 1 play. We got the 1, 1, 1 value for this direction 4. You see, you can just see x axis, y axis, and z axis. So this 4 is related to 1, 1, 1. And when we see the direction 5, so you can just see this from here, it is half. You can see direction 5 here, x axis, right, exactly resembles the half from the x axis. So this part distance half, and y axis you'll have exactly unit value, and z, this is parallel to the z axis. So therefore it comes to be 1 by 2, 1 comma 0. If you just simplify it, so you'll get 1, 2, 0. And when we go for the direction 6, you'll get particularly x and y in exactly at the middle. So half, half, and 1 for the exactly this particular. See, you just see, you can just see this. This is completely comes to 1. So when you simplify it for Miller indices, intercepts, then the value that you are going to get, that is 1, 1, 2. So now this is the parallel directions which have the same. You know that if the parallel directions will have the same values, you just write it down as 1, 1, 1 is equal to 2, 2, 2. Now this direction you can we can have more examples, right? Regarding this directions, you can see if there is a we will just we don't write exactly the fraction, but we'll indicate the values in the form of p by q, that is 1 by 2 and 1 by 2, 1. So we are just converting that particular values into the integers, and that comes to be 1, 1, 2. And in the negative direction, if the axis if the intercepts of the given plane is negative, it is in the negative direction, then we'll just indicate that negative direction with the bar value, right? So now apart from the casual examples, we'll just take this particular unit cell. You'll find that in this unit cell, the red mark line segment. See, you can have, first of all, there is a unit cell here, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. We just have a very clear idea. So in the unit cell, we have just indicated this with x, y, and z, and the corresponding intercept says a, b, c, right? So now that is the reason that we just written x of a, y by b, y of b, z of c. Now you can just see this distance, right? See, you should have a very clear idea that this distance is nothing but the part of the line segment. The value of that part is considered to be 3 by 4. That is called point coordinates. We'll just indicate with point coordinates. So 3 by 4 in the y, when we just see, this is the case for x-axis. So 3 by 4 on the x-axis, and y by b, that is 3 by 4 on the y-axis. And when we consider it as z, so exactly this value come to be unity. So that is 1. So when you just take the reciprocal of it and clearly after simplifying it, first of all 3 by 4 by 1 will give you 4 by 3 and 4 by 3 and 1. So you can just take the LCM and multiply the value that you will get in the LCM. So the value that you are going to obtain is 334, and 334 is the direction of the crystal where you find most of the atoms, right, concentration. Now we just go for another directions, right? So we have indicated with this arrow line segment red 1. So here also we have just taken the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, and having the intercepts a, b, and c. You can just see here, right? The lines we are talking about this line segment. So what is the coordinate with respect to x-axis? You can just see the coordinate is this line segment is not related to your exactly x-axis, so we just write it at 0. When you consider with respect to y-axis, the distance is found to be 1, and with respect to the z-axis, equal distance. Yes, right? This is equal distance. So that equal distance, we are just taking it as 1, 1 intercept. So just we had a very clear thing that we got 0, 1, 1. So if you take the reciprocal of 0 by 1 or 1 by 1, 1 by 1, you will obtain the same thing, and definitely the crystal direction obtained is 0, 1, 1, and that is the indication of the directions of the what you can say, the crystal direction, which will give us the information regarding the concentration of the atoms, right? So now we just go for the another example. If this is the case, right, this is the case, you can just see this particular line segment here. So x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, you had the intercept a, b, c. So you can just see this particular distance, right? So it is resembling the point of half the point, all right? So half, we have taken x by a, x of a is equal to half, and y, you can just see that y is unit, and z with respect to z, this particular distance, you can just see this distance, right, half. So we just simplify it, we'll get 1 to 1 value. Now this is the another quick example. Just we will have a very what you can say, very short what you can say, view of the crystal plane. We had see what we have done is we have joined all the crystal planes and given geometrical unit cell, and in this you can find, see, how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. So 1, right, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different planes have been indicated. So each plane you will get this HKL values, that is 0, 1, 0. So and this plane too you will get 1, 1, 0. You can just see it, right? If you separately do it, it's well and good. If you combine it for your reference, that this might be the position of the different planes that you'll obtain. Now this particular aspect is given by William H. Miller, and who was a professor of mineralogy in the Cambridge University. Now this is the person who has given us the information regarding this crystal plane, right? So now as we move to this indexing plane, right, so we just move to that planes, more number of examples. You can just see this type of plane here. So if this is the case, a very clear idea, it is intercepting a unity at x intercept is 1, y, and z. And z you will find, see, z is exactly half. That is the reason that we have indicated with half here. So 1, 1, So the reciprocal of 1 by 2 is 2. So whatever the clear integer will get, Miller indices is 1, 1, 2. Now in the same case, you have taken the second example. You can just see second example, the z-intercept is, you can just see z-intercept is 1 by 4th part, right? So therefore it has been written 1 by 4. And here y, see y is not exactly 1, but it is 3 by 4th part. So that is the reason that we have indicated with 3 by 4th, right? And here, see here, this x intercept is completely touching this particular distance is considered to be 1. And when you take the reciprocal, you'll get this particular values. Now this is 3, 4 and 12, right? Now this type of examples is more common, and this is one of the another example of the crystal plane. So now the, see how this negative plane, right? We just now we talked about the bar. So how this negative plane look like, right? We have just given you the example of negative plane which will be there in the unit cell. And this is some few examples how these planes, even the examination, he'll just give you the diagram. There is a possibility, right? By seeing the diagram, you need to evaluate the Miller indices. So this is the type of what you can say, type of views of the planes such that which will be given, or you should have an understanding that how to you evaluate the crystal plane. Now this is from this what we can do is that this is the end of this crystal planes and Miller indices. You can just see now in the next session we just go for the crystal defect, right? So now we will just move to the what you can say crystal defect. Now the second chapter that is very very important to us, that is chapter number, here it is indicated with the 4, right? This is actually chapter 2. Now this is called imperfection on in the solids, right? So we will have this imperfection in the solid, right? This is chapter 2. So chapter 1 we just discussed in the previous classes regarding the chapter 1. So what we have discussed, we started with the what is the meaning of what you can say, we started with the matter. So matter is composed of solid, liquid and gaseous. And also the what you can say, we are very much interested in understanding very depth knowledge of solids. So we just classified that solids into crystalline and polycrystalline and non-crystalline solids. So single crystal, polycrystal and the non-crystalline solid. So that classification we have done with some examples, right? So now in the later section, in order to understand the arrangement of the atoms, we what we have done is that we have taken some imaginary points here, and some parameters have been defined. That parameters are nothing but, so what is the meaning of lattice, what is crystal lattice, what is basis, and how the crystal structure is obtained, right, in a geometrical position. So we just discussed in the previous classes the this imagination has been done, and how the atoms may be arranged inside the solids. And we have constituted some lattice parameters. That lattice parameters are nothing but the a, B, C lattice constant with respect to the crystallographic axes, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, which are having the angles alpha, beta and gamma. With respect to this A, B, C, alpha, beta, gamma, we have gone for the what you can say different classification of crystal system. If these two parameters are combined, we'll call that parameters, we called the parameters as lattice parameters. And these different lattice parameters are resulted in different crystal system. And we have shown some geometrical view of the 7 crystal system, and the conditions of these lattice parameters has been explained you, and have been what you can say, you have already seen to the different cubic crystal system, tetragonal, orthorhombic, rhombohedral, hexagonal, monoclinic and triclinic. This is the 7 crystal system what we have discussed, which is present on the earth crust. And thus we have gone for the next important topic of the crystal planes, directions and Miller indices. And mathematically we have solved some problems, right, numericals, right. So with respect to the Miller indices, and also the interplanar spacing derivation, right, the distance between the two consecutive plane is represented with d, small d. And we had the derivation of interplanar spacing. And the later section we has gone for the diffraction. So in the diffraction, what is actually the meaning of diffraction, and why we are going for diffraction of crystals? Why we need to go for X-ray diffraction, and we just gone for X-ray diffraction? What is the condition for the diffraction of the to take place? Is Bragg's law. We had a very right clear information regarding the Bragg's equation, 2d sine theta is equal to lambda and lambda. And we have studied there are different techniques or the methods of X-ray diffraction. So Loy method, powder method, and rotating crystal method. Out of these three, we have given importance to the powder method. We discussed a very clear what you can say depth study about regarding the powder method. And at the last, we had discussed about the applications of X-ray diffraction, and why we need to go for X-ray diffraction, what are the applications of X-ray diffraction, and by means of powder method, what we can obtain, right? What are the different applications? Now that particular aspect we discuss in the chapter 1, right? And if any student is having any problem with these particular topics, so you are most welcome, and we are just streaming the videos of the previous classes. So definitely there are some problems, right? So particularly see this for classes you might get some slow voice or some technical issues will be there. Definitely that will be sorted out. So you can please let us know that while streaming the students. For that instant, we are streaming out the classes of previous classes, whatever we have completed. So wherever you are having the problem, please, you are most welcome for any queries regarding the topics, and the your doubts will be clarified. And the numericals, and definitely we just gone for Miller indices. There are few numericals that to be discussed after completing the chapter 2. We'll combinedly discuss the different numericals, right, on the what you can say at the end of the chapter 2, right? So now with this we'll just start the chapter 2. Now what is the need? See, this is very very important, right? Why? See, whenever you are going to study a chapter, first of all you should know the aim and objective of that particular chapter. So what is the need of studying this chapter 2? That is called imperfections in solid. See, the chapter 1 completely deals with the geometrical view of the arrangement of the atoms. Now that is about the ideal nature, so that is ideal case, right? So now, is it in real this is the same case? So now that is not the same case for the real crystals. So that is the reason that we know that there will be in real some right, we'll have some loopholes, right? So definitely that is the reason that we are going for the chapter 2. So we need to know what is imperfections in solid. What is the meaning of imperfection? Imperfections are nothing but it is not regularly the periodic. We say that in the chapter 1 that atoms are in a arrangement, the periodic array of imaginary points, or the atoms are arranged in a periodic manner. So that is not the case always. So that is if that is not the case, we'll call that such defect as such arrangement where you'll find some what you can say not in a sequential order. So that we'll call such imperfect defects as imperfections. So these imperfections you'll find in solids. See, in the chapter 1 we discuss about solids. So here also we need to understand what are the different imperfections in the solids. So what is the things that should be addressed, the issues to be addressed? What is the solidification mechanism? What is actually the meaning of solidification mechanism, and what are the different types of defects arise in the solid, right? Definitely we'll have defects in the solids, and can number and type of defects can these defects which have been seen in the solids can be varied, or we can control it? Is it possible? That is a question. Before studying the chapter 2, one should know that these are the things that should be addressed in the chapter 2, and how this defect is affecting the material properties of the solids, right? So how this defect, due to this defect, is there any properties of the materials have been varied? So that particular thing is definitely should be addressed. And are these defects are desirable or undesirable? It is good for the solid properties, or it is good for the application purpose, or no, it is not not good for the what you can say, the solids. So that should be addressed very clearly while studying the chapter 2. We'll understand this particular aspect. Once, see, whenever you are studying a chapter, you should be in the position that what actually the aim of studying the chapter 2, right? So now this is the things that we need to understand more clearly. So now this classification of the defects, so you can just see this classification of defects based on the dimensionality. So when you see that there are depending upon the dimensions, right, there are, here you will observe that there are 4 dimensions, right? Particularly the 4 dimension is nothing but the 0 dimension, where 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, and 3 dimension. So what is the defect in, what is the defect called as 2 dimension 0 dimension defect is known as point defects. So here again, see, here again we'll give our primary importance to the here we just need to understand in this particular aspect, we need to understand what is actually the meaning of point defect, and in that point defect what is the what is the sub classification. So that sub classification, you can just see this is called the point defects. The one of the sub classification of point defect is vacancy, impurity, and comes to be Frankel defect and Schottky defect. So these are the 4 important defects that we need to have a very clear idea, which come under the category of point defect, or simply we say that is a 0 dimension defect. So when we go with the 1 dimension defect, so that is actually, see here, what is this asterisk mark indicates? The impurity usually refers to the fact that it is unintentionally present. Means there is, see, that is a possibility that by unintentionally you'll find some variation in the arrangement of the uh, atoms, right? So that is the reason that we just call that is not actually the impurity. We just, you should call that particular aspect as a alloying element. You'll find that in the minerals, right? So unknowingly or unintentionally, you'll find that whatever the mineral that is obtained, that is with the alloying element. So that alloying element, some says that that is impurity, but that is a dopant actually. So that is a particular dopant will have a positive impact, or it may have some what you can say negative impact also. But more precisely, we should not say it as an impurity, but it is a dopant, right? So that is the reason that we just go for this. That is the vacancy, impurity, and Frankel defect, Schottky defect. And then dislocation, for 1 dimension you find dislocation, disclination, despiration, and so on. This will come under the category of this. And in the regarding this impurity, we will have interstitial and substitutional defects, that is also be considered to be point defect, right? We will discuss when we go for the point defects in detail. So what is actually, see, this is the brief classification. See, if you can make a note, that is very well and good, right? So if you can have running notes of this particular whatever the things that has been explained in the class, right? So that is well and good if you can do that, right? So line defects is dislocation, disclination, and despiration for 1 dimension. So when we go for the 2 dimension, that is surface or interface, we'll have a surface or interface boundary, grain boundaries, twin boundary, and stacking faults. So now antiphase boundaries. Now this is only the classification, right? So we need to understand what is actually, see, classification of defects are based upon the dimensionality. So this is called surface or interface defect. And 3 dimension volume defects, twins, precipitate and faulted region, voids, cracks, and thermal vibrations. Now this is about the imperfection, what you'll find in the solid. What is actually the solidification results, right? Solidification is a result of casting the molten material. So how it is possible? First of all, a nuclei form, and these nuclei is growing to form a crystal. You can just see crystal is growing here. You can see one should be very much clear that we can just grow the crystal in the laboratories also. Now this is a liquid what you can say, this is the nuclei and has been displaced and they grown, and after growing you'll have a structure like this. And you find, see the regular boundaries you'll find here. The regular boundaries is constitute the crystal structure. So crystal grow until they meet each other. So now this is the type of grain boundaries. We say that polycrystalline materials will have grain boundaries. In the previous section we just had a very clear idea about the polycrystalline material. What is actually the polycrystalline material? What is grain boundaries? Region between the crystal, and these transition from one lattice region. You can just see this here. Now this particular aspect, this is one grain boundary, this is another grain boundary you'll find here. Now this is right, So very clear idea that is it's a high angle grain boundary. You can high why it is high angle. You can just see this, the angle which has been formed in this particular fashion, and this is a low small angle grain boundary, right? Is the and this is actually called the angle of misalignment, right? So the atoms are not regularly arranged, right? There is some variation. You can just see these are very clear idea you'll have it. Here you will not find any similarity. So you can say that this is called misalignment, so slightly which is disordered. And what you can say, you can have what is actually the meaning of solidification. You can just see this is one of the example of solidification, right? So there is no such thing as a perfect crystal. So what is this imperfections, and why these imperfections are very important? And many of the important properties of these materials are due to the presence of the imperfection. Due to the presence of imperfection, thus in the previous slide we had impurity. We said impurity, now that is called dopant. So by adding the dopant, so definitely we can improve the properties. In the same manner, the due to this imperfection, definitely will have more important properties of the materials due to the presence of the imperfections. Now, this is the types of imperfections. Just now we discussed that the point defects will have vacancy or impurity, I said. So, what type of that? Interstitial atoms, substitutional atoms, right? So, this is the type of, if this is the case, then that will come under the category of point defects, right? So, now this we'll find dislocation also, and also the line defect. So this here grain boundaries, right, and area defects. So that this is the type of imperfections that you are going to observe inside the crystal. So geometrically you can just see what is actually the meaning of vacancies. That first we discuss about the point defects in metal. See, again I'm giving we are concentrating on metals. I just now told you that we are very much interested in studying about the metals. So how the defects are there in the metals, that is of prime importance. So that is the reason that we just discussed about the point defects in metals. So here vacancies are nothing but the vacant atomic sites in the structure. You can just see this arrangement of the atoms. You can see this is not regularly arranged. There is some here empty space is there. We call that as vacant atomic site, and these vacant atomic site is considered to be vacancy, right? And you'll due to this vacant atomic site, you'll find that here you can just see if we draw a plane, right, in two dimensions. See, I'm talking about two dimension now. So since we can view only two dimension, right? So if I draw a plane, now you get a distorted plane. You can just see this is called distortion plane. It has been indicated here. So now, so this is called interstitial and extra atom. You can just see extra atom position between the atomic side. You can just see if this is the case, this is exactly the empty atomic side. We'll call such a thing as vacancy. And if I just add an extra atom to this empty vacant side, we'll just call that as interstitial, an extra atom position between the atomic side. We'll call a self interstitial, and definitely you'll get a distortion. So this is about the vacancy and self interstitial. So when I say vacancy, sir, can you give me the example where actually you'll find the vacancy? You can have, definitely we can have an example of semiconductor. In semiconductor, we'll have holes, right? We talk about holes. Example of holes in the semiconductor is one of the very good example of your vacancy. And when you talk about self interstitial, so where actually, sir, where you got extra atom position between the atomic side, we'll say the self interstitial. Can you give me the example? So you can have an example of carbon, right? So the formation of carbon in the surface of the iron. So that is an example that come under the interstitial point defect, right? Now you'll definitely will have equilibrium concentration which will be varying with respect to the temperature. What is this equilibrium concentration? We'll definitely will have a very clear idea about this particular aspect in the later section. So here we are not going for this estimation of the vacancies and so on. Now we just go for this imperfection in metals, impurity in solids, right? We don't go for that. Now what is the imperfection in solids? So you'll have linear defects, that is called dislocation. When I say linear defect, linear, one dimension. See, I'm talking about one dimension. So one dimensional defects are on which the atoms are misaligned. and these one are dislocations are of two types, right? So edge dislocation and screw dislocation, and this combination of this dislocation has been told mathematically by the Burgers vector that will give us the exact measurement of distortion which is there in the arrangement of the atoms inside the crystal when it comes to be one dimensional observation of a defect, that is called dislocation. See, one dimensional dislocation. So now we'll definitely will have a very clear idea regarding this, right? So what we'll do here is that in this today's session, we just had a very clear idea regarding the up to imperfections in the solid. In the next class, definitely we'll just go for the what you can say the next topic for the imperfection. We just continue with your imperfection very right in detail manner, right? So we had a very introductory class today for this in imperfection. Now I think that we need to close the class, right? We are closing it, and in the latest section, we'll definitely try to go for the next imperfection solid very in-depth manner, and we'll go for some derivations also. So right, thank you everyone, thank you for your patience. We will go, we'll again, we'll see you in the next class.